Hi everybody, Martha Phil here. It's Mondays with Martha. I'm here with my friend Terri Branson from Insure. We've done a couple of other videos for you, but I think I've had more questions than I was surprised. People came to me with a bunch of different questions, so we thought we would do this again. One of the questions that came up was, how does the type of house, price, or amenities of a house change either a deductible or their premium or their liability? And that's probably a lot all in one question.
It is. So price of the house?
Yeah, does the price of the house make a difference?
You know, I think that's a great question because so many people get really bogged down in how much they're paying for the house versus how much we might put for a dwelling coverage on the insurance. And while I use the purchase price as sort of a guideline to get a feel for, especially once I'm looking at what neighborhood is it in, that kind of thing. But in the end, we run replacement cost estimators with each of our carriers because what we're trying to determine is how much would it cost if the house is completely gone to rebuild it.
Right.
We are not including any value of the amenities or your distance to the coast or how great the neighborhood is or your landscaping or anything like that.
And you've got furniture.
Right, which is
Furnishings.
a separate coverage.
Right.
So initially, purchase price really does not always parlay much at all into the coverage.
Right. So how about amenities? Let's say you have a pool. Let's say you have a pool. What kind of liability does that bring into the mix?
Yep. So a couple things on that. We always want to make sure that we've included coverage on your homeowner policy. It's called other structures. It's coverage B, other structures. Most companies do it that way. Some will include it in the dwelling, but that's for us to figure out. We always just want to make sure we've included enough coverage to put the pool back, especially let's say a tree falls on it and cracks it and it's ruined. But the most important thing to me really is the liability. If you have a swimming pool, you always have that risk that someone could drown in the pool. Or even slip and fall on the wet deck and smash their head, or there are all sorts of injuries that can go along with having a swimming pool. So my recommendation to folks is always that we increase their liability. If they don't normally take $500,000 in liability, that's our recommendation. And if they have any other assets to protect, then we would talk about a personal umbrella coverage.
That's funny you say that because that's on my list. Umbrella policy. Because I've always been taught that you should have an umbrella policy. It I don't want to say protects you from everything because God knows it doesn't.
Right.
But what does it protect you over and above a regular homeowner?
So first and foremost, a lot of people misunderstand the umbrella policy because they think you buy it in place of your homeowner or auto insurance. They think umbrella means that it's the whole thing.
Whole ball of wax,
but it's really not. You think of the umbrella just like it doesn't do away with the person, it just protects the person. It's an additional coverage. So you might wear a raincoat, but you also want the umbrella.
Right.
The personal umbrella policy is strictly more liability coverage for the customer. So you have to have, each umbrella carrier requires a certain amount of coverage on your homeowner policy and your auto policy in order to even qualify for the umbrella. Then if you have some sort of claim that uses up those limits, the umbrella policy would be triggered and pay another $1 million typically, or for people that have more assets or are more affluent, they might have a $5-10 million umbrella. It just depends on what your financial situation is. Either way, it's just a smart way to transfer some of that risk and liability to the insurance company instead of your pocket, your assets, and your investments.
So one more question, because I know we don't want this to be too long, because sometimes people won't listen to the whole thing.
I listen to the whole thing.
I can't listen to the whole thing. But what happens? Is it best to bundle your policies? Because we hear a lot about that. Bundle your house and your car. Put this all under one company. Is that better to do or not necessarily? It doesn't save you anything.
Right. We hear that a lot, and you see that a lot from the big name companies that are spending millions of dollars in advertising. The problem is that those same companies that spend all that money are not big players once you hit a coastal county across the country.
Oh, that's interesting.
So the Allstates and the State Farms of the world especially, sometimes the Liberty Mutuals, like they really want you to put all of your coverage with one carrier. And it's true that some of them do give some very significant discounts for multi-policy discount on all of the policies. Again, the problem is here at the coast, they're not our big players. State Farm will be open for a little bit and then close, and Allstate won't include wind when you get anywhere close to the ocean. So for us, where most of us are, it's not really a true
Doesn't
option.
help us, doesn't help us a whole lot.
Exactly.
Doesn't
So
help us.
the companies that seem to be in the last 6-8 years the most competitive in property insurance, so home and rental properties and condos, most of them don't even write auto. So the true bundling in that sense with the same carrier is not an option. But most of them will give something of a companion credit if you place your auto with the same agent, even
Oh,
though
that's
they
interesting.
understanding they're going to write it with a different
A
company.
different company.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
So maybe we put the homeowner with Orion, let's say, for home, and we put the auto with Progressive. Orion will give a companion discount because the policies are in the same office.
Oh, that's
So
good.
we consider that a form of a bundle, but it's not the same as being with the same
Sure,
company.
with the same company, and maybe for liability purposes, it's just as well not to be with the same company, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Well, listen, thanks so much for watching. Terri Branson from We Insure. How would they get in touch with you if they have more questions?
Yeah, call our team, 843-491-6990, and we'd be glad to help.